Greetings one and all. How are you? It's Thursday and I'm in Boston. Believe it or not, I made it. How's everybody doing today? This is going to be a strange live stream, I think. I don't know for sure. I think the band is getting ready to start playing again. And I found a quiet corner to broadcast from, but I don't know how quiet it's going to be or for how long. Anyway, I'm glad to be here, glad you're here. The next little bit, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this whole experience. And I don't know, maybe there'll be something in here that'll be useful for you. I was going to try to show some footage from the last couple of days, but I really don't have the equipment here with me, and not having the equipment to show it means I just run out of territory on the laptop very quickly. So we're just going to have to wait till I get back, and then I'll put something up on YouTube, and you can see what this amazing place looks like. I have got a second camera. I'll be able to show you a little bit about what's going on. Let me see if I can get that thing to work. No telling, of course. Well, there you go. It is working. This is the little booth that I'm in, and out there is the main studio, which you're not going to be able to see very well. But this little studio in here is absolutely gorgeous. Very quaint little place. It's completely dead sound-wise. Can't hear an echo in here at all. Loads of guitars, lovely equipment. Yeah, all very nice. So hopefully, what we're going to do is, as the afternoon goes on, I'm going to get the band to come by and say hi. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them just in case they don't come by. Let me switch back to the other one so that I know what I'm doing. And if they do come by, I'll introduce you. But all five of the guys are from different parts of the planet. And they've got together, I think, about half a dozen times to make albums. This is number 6. And the reason I got this gig, somebody asked me, how did I manage to land such a cushy job? Well, it was my brother asked me to do it. He's the bass guitarist in the band. So, yeah, it's not the kind of thing you can say no to, really. So there you go. That's why I'm doing it. But the last week has been very interesting because, well, I've done a lot of different kinds of music photography over the years. Doing an actual photo shoot during a recording of an album is something that's completely different. And in case you ever end up in the situation of not being able to tell your brother no, and you end up in Boston doing just this same thing, then hopefully some of these tips will help you to stay out of trouble. They didn't help me stay out of trouble because I didn't know about the tips until I'd got in trouble. But yeah, we'll go over some of that stuff. But let me first say hi to some people. Let me see who is here today. And, well, Ralph is here from West London. Good to have you, sir. Northwest London. That's out by Heathrow, right? Somewhere near there. Lance, good evening. Walter, good evening. Yep, let me see. Superglue. What about Superglue? Oh, Bob. Yeah, Bob, what's his name? The Superglue guy. Right, got it. Gary's here. Welcome, Gary. Sam from, oh dear, I'm not going to be able to say that. Pietermaritzburg, South Africa. Yeah, we'll call it just PMB, South Africa. There you go. That way I'll remember it. Nils, welcome from Norway. Your photograph of the fingernails actually did quite well in the competition. Nils, congratulations. I think you got 3rd place. Snow is starting to disappear and the first bugs have arrived. Fantastic. Well, Boston is not at all the way I remember it. I ran the Boston Marathon a few years ago. Well, a lot of years ago. And it was absolutely freezing cold the day I ran it. And it's going to be, I think, something like 70 degrees this year, which is very difficult to run in that kind of heat. It's a difficult race anyway. But that's neither here nor there because I'm not going to be running in it. And Phil's here from Cambria, California, which is actually the name of the hotel I was staying at. The Cambria part, not the California part. Very nice. Greetings, Robert. Glad you could make it from Ocala. And Rob's here from Peebles. And Helen is here. Hey, Helen, how are you? Graham from rainy Chertsey. Yep, well, glad you made it, Graham. And Susan from Huntsville. Excellent. Great. We've got the whole gang's here today. Fantastic. The Hembrodian man is here from the north of England, and everybody can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, I made sure I pressed all the buttons twice this time. The stream is fairly healthy, but we are dropping some frames. That might have something to do with the second camera. I don't know, but as long as you can hear me, we'll keep going. Let me see. Patrick is here. Greetings, Patrick, and you've got a question. Okay, questions take precedence. You recently bought an aspherical glass lens, or several of them, and very often I see strange 3D photos on the PC and the mobile. So what's the question, Patrick? Should you stop looking through those aspherical lenses? I think probably that's the answer. I think the strange images will go away then. We'll see what the question is. Chris, welcome. Greetings in Vienna. Glad you made it. And Ingolf is here. Ingolf, I do apologize for not responding to your email. It's only for one reason, and that is I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I sent some pictures to show you how busy I was of an empty studio, but I have not had a chance to sit down and do the first bit of work with my email. Maybe on the plane on the way home. I do apologize, but I will get to it. Than the people on the other ones. You'd have to be. Joseph is here. Excellent. Welcome, Joseph. And a real music town. Well, let me tell you something about that. What town is it you're in again, Joseph? Oh, Detroit. Yeah. I see we have nothing going right now. Let me double check. We should be okay. But okay, what I'm doing is I'm going to try to unpair the phone and see if that doesn't improve the stream. Sometimes that's all it takes. I'm going to assume that we're back rolling again. Let me see. Looks like we have a signal now. I think that must have been what it was. It's hard to say. I had no way to test the speed here. Amy, would you let me know if the picture and sound are good now? And hi to Angie. Angie, we've already announced the flower competition, and it's next month. This month we're doing decomposition, which is a strange subject, but I have a feeling we'll see some cool pictures. And then the following month, the month of May, is going to be flowers, and you and I are going to judge that at the beginning of June. And then, of course, in June, we have the stereo competition. So it looks like we're back to having a fairly healthy stream going on, which is good. And I apologize for any brief outage there. I'm going to turn that second camera off. I don't think it's going to help us very much. Okay, so where was I? I was talking all about music. A proud liberal wants to know, are we going to hear a snippet of them recording today? I'll tell you what I might do. This is going to be taking a risk, but I might try just walking up to the booth, the big booth where the music is piped to, with the laptop not connected to anything, and see if the Wi-Fi actually works. If it does, then yes, you will hear the band recording, and I'll actually be able to show you the studio very briefly. I hate to stomp all over them when they're trying to record, but you know, it's what it is. They're here to record the music, and I'm here to just record them. Now, let me cover a camera equipment on a professional job. If you haven't, that is something I can't emphasize enough, that you need to practice. I think the issue is just the Wi-Fi, I'm afraid. It doesn't appear to be quite what we're used to. Not really sure there's anything else I can do. Let me see. I've got a few questions here that I'm going to answer. We'll get back to the travel thing in just a few minutes. If we disappear again, we'll give it a couple more tries, and maybe moving up to the booth won't be a bad idea. Maybe it's a better signal up there. I don't know. So bear with me, proud liberal. We'll give that a shot in just a few minutes. You saw Jim Heaton. This is no, it's Joseph. Saw Circle of Death in concert maybe 5 years ago. Well, I'll be. Okay, well, that sounds like a wonderfully fun evening. Let me see. All right, so Laura's here, and she told me something. I don't know what it was. Probably that you've got the Circle of Death spinning on your screen. Yeah. The problem is the Wi-Fi, I think, and I do apologize for that. But let's see. I'll keep going. Right now, I've got a green flag, so things are all okay. All right. So, got a question here. Have you tested C-mount lenses for macro photography? This is from FWPDM. And you're talking about the industrial lenses which are used for electronic repair. Yes, actually, I am currently in the process of checking out a number of C-mount lenses to use with my microscope. So yes, there are some that are very good. There are some that are not so good. It really depends what they're used for. Certainly there are some very high quality lenses out there, but they're very expensive, and because they're not made for use with cameras, they tend to not give you the kind of sensor coverage that you're used to. That's the biggest problem with using industrial lenses. Same with some scanner lenses. It's not that they aren't nice cameras with good sensors. It's just they're not really made for use with cameras. They're made for use with small sensor devices, like on conveyor belts at the factory for product evaluation, that type of thing. And then a question from Harold: any experience with the bellows extension for the PB6, the PB6E? Is it worth the investment, or is it better to say for a microscope objective? That's a great question. It's absolutely useless to me to have any further extension, because there isn't any optical setup that I use that requires more than the 200 millimeters of extension you can get with a PB6. Anything else is going to put you so far into the diffraction zone that it's hardly worth it. In fact, it's not worth it. So I really don't. And if there were some reason I had to extend beyond the full reach of the PB6, I'd just use extension tubes and save myself a fortune. Now, I think that there are some slide copying situations in which you might want longer distance, but it's never been an issue for me. So I wouldn't get it. I'd save up my pennies and get a Mitutoyo instead. Will the flower competition be 1-to-1 or better, or just any flowers? That's a great question. It will be closeup flowers, as in 1-to-1, 2-to-1 is fine. Well, my brother just walked in. This is Craig Walls. He's one of the bludgers. He's actually the bass guitarist. And yeah.
Hey, big brother.
10 songs, you finished.
Well, we've finished the basic tracks as of about an hour ago. And so we'll be doing overdubbing for the next day and a half.
these people will want to listen to your record now, as they've seen you. Where can they find your stuff?
Wherever you listen to music, streaming on
The,
Spotify.
the toilet?
Depending on what part of town you're in, you may actually find one of the bludgers in the toilet. Let's see, Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, the Napster, the whole 9 yards. We're the Bludgers, Bludgers.
Yeah. What is a bludger?
Well, that's a good question. So, our meaning of the word bludger is the Australasian, New Zealand. One of the guys is from Australia, one of the guys is from New Zealand. And down there, a bludger is someone who shows up at your party with no beer and no cigarettes and bludges all of your beer and cigarettes.
It's also a pimp in New Zealand.
No.
It is. It is. I looked it up. I looked it up last night. It's also a fish.
It is a fish,
Yep.
but one important point to make is that the bludgers were copyrighted many years before J.K. Rowling's reference to our band in her book, and we are suing her over that.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I think we'll be very successful.
Well, are you going to be making some noise in the studio that we can hear?
Possibly. Right now we're doing acoustic guitar overdubs, so the guitar player's in an isolation chamber. And depending on how much time it takes for him to do that, we may or may not actually be out in force as a band.
I may come up. I just grab the laptop and come up to the booth just for a minute to show everybody.
Show people the booth.
All right.
It's the real meal deal. This is the name of the studio is The Bridge Sound and Stage, and it is the direct descendant from Fort Apache, one of the more famous rock studios on the East Coast.
David Bowie, Lenny Kravitz.
Mm-hmm. The Pixies, Aerosmith, just tons and tons of bands.
Yeah, probably sat in this very chair I'm sitting in. Famous people. Amazing. Well, we'll do that. We'll come up there. Give us 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think John Bludger's going to come by and say hello too.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Brilliant. Fantastic.
Cool. Bye, Allan's people. Much love.
Oh, dearie me. Do you have famous families, or is it just me? Oh, that was my baby brother Craig, and the band are a great bunch of people, and they really get on well together, which is amazing after 6 records. Anyway, I hope that you were able to hear him. I know that the microphone situation. You'd think the microphone situation would be spectacular in a setup like this. Looks like we've just dropped again, but yeah, it's not that spectacular because they're all being used for other things. Let me see. I think we're coming back on again. All right, looks like we're back in business. I think we're just going to have this picture dropping out from time to time. All right. Let me see. There are some questions I think that have popped up. Yeah, I know I'm spotty and coming and going. This is just the way it's going to be, and I do apologize. But there you go. Let me see. Decomposition is more than just straying from the 1/3 rule, but it could be that too. Certainly could. April's contest is it's all about capturing the beauty in decomposition or decay over time. Lots of beauty in that. All right, and of course, tell a story. Fire up an emotion or two, and you'll probably win. And Amy's put the link to Discord where you can drop your picture off. Fantastic. Amy said hi to Craig. Craig already left, and we are buffering again. Oh, a question about Alistair asked Joseph, or Joseph told Alistair, I can't speak to how Allan powers his flashes, but I just set things up so I'm below 1/4 power and MF12 goes near 1,000. Joseph is absolutely right. I use 4 MF12s and I'm buffering again. I use 4 MF12s and seldom do I go over 1/8 power, and I will go several hundred frames over 1,000. Yeah. I'm going to try moving the laptop. We're going to do that. How about that? Let's try moving the laptop up to the booth. We're going to do that. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. I am now moving. I'm going to make you very seasick doing this. I just slammed the door open. That's Laura. Say hi to Laura. All right, we actually have a signal. This is... Be very quiet. Thank you, my brother. Sounded great. Well, we're back. That was fun. So you did get to hear a little bit. That was Andy overdubbing some of the acoustic guitar from one of the earlier songs. That's what this process is all about. We just gone wonky again on the signal, I'm afraid. No, it's back again. So the process involves the band recording a track, laying down all the music, and then once they've gone through a couple of times and got all the bits that they need, they go up to the booth, they go through the track, and oftentimes we'll have to go back out and record parts of it. And it's very tedious, I guess, and it's frustrating for the musicians, but it does sound great. And the guy that was up there sitting at the console, and we're buffering again, sorry. The guy that was sitting up there at the owner of the bridge, his name is Alex Allanson, and he's owned this let me see. This used to be Fort Apache, which was a really famous studio in this area for years and years. And since 2009, I believe, it's been a standalone studio. And it's, as you see the pictures I've taken, well, you've seen a fair amount of it. The booth hasn't changed at all. It's the same one that Aerosmith and David Bowie recorded in, and yeah, it's they've really kept the place looking fantastic. There's a whole history to it. It would work better if I was out in the... It might be this room that's the problem. Should we see? Yeah. Let's see if that helps. I am going to walk back out and without slamming the door. Let me see if our signal... No, it's worse. No. No, it looks like it's worse. Sorry, I'll go back in here. Well, you'd think I would be getting used to this by now, but yeah, I suppose I'm not. Now I'm sitting down on the couch because yeah, why not? I can do that kind of thing. My notes are up there, so I'll have to wing it. Let me see if there's any questions. The band is really fantastic. They're a kind of alt country, alt folk rock and roll band that have a very unique sound, all of their own. The singer is a New Zealander, and let me see, the drummer is American, and the rhythm guitarist is actually from Boston. My brother's from California, and yeah, so they're from all over, and their music sounds that way. You really should check it out. If nothing else, check out the last 4 EPs the last 4 singles they put out, because I did the cover photography for all 5 of them, and the name of the EP was 5. So the Bludgers 5. Check it out, really, and yeah, I will. I'll have some great pictures to show you, and you'll see this whole 9 yards. Now, I'm going to run through a couple of tips because I touched on a few of these on Tuesday, but I've had a chance to think some more about it. And if you do ever end up in a situation of doing this, or for that matter, if you ever end up doing any kind of indoor photography for an event where you're expected to produce a product for the people that are hiring you, there are a few things that you ought to do, and I recommend that you do a job of. The first is planning your travel better. You need to get with the band ahead of time and decide exactly what the band wants. What do they want to see? Do they want to have video of them performing in the studio, or do they want to have stills that they're going to use on their album covers? What exactly is the deliverable that you're going to produce for them? If you try to do everything, you end up not doing a great job of anything. And I certainly erred on the side of being ready for too much. I brought too many cameras, but not enough of the support stuff for each of the camera systems. Thinking Boston, pretty big place, ought to be no trouble getting anything I forget. It's not. It's a big problem getting stuff around here. There's one brick and mortar camera shop, but it's downtown. It's not in Cambridge. So I would have done things a little bit differently. As it happens, the band did want video as well as still, so I would have needed 2 cameras. But there are ways to plan that so that I could have been more efficient and effective. One would have been 1 full-frame camera and 1 video camera. But instead I brought a total of 3 video cameras, including a GoPro and the Osmo Pocket 2, and an APS-C camera, as well as my full-frame DSLR. And with all of that, and all the batteries, and all the cards, and all the cables that go to all of that, I ended up with a massive brick of equipment that I was dragging around the airport. And yeah, it was a mistake, because I also was missing a few little bits and pieces that hooked it all together. So another mistake that it was easy to make is to put all your eggs in one basket. These days, the folks at the airport don't have a huge sense of humor, and they don't do well when you plead with them either. But when the aeroplane people wanted to take my camera away from me to throw it in the hold underneath the plane, I did not have a plan. Well, I did, but I hadn't executed it properly. If that happens, you need a way to immediately, instantly retrieve from that bag the 3 or 4 the relatively priceless bits of equipment that you need for that job. For example, your best camera and your best lens need to be in a separate bag that you can access with one zipper. And when they say, sir, you need to check that bag to go underneath the plane, you pull your camera out and hold on to it, which is what I ended up doing. But yeah, it's good to plan that in advance. Maybe have a second smaller camera bag inside your main camera bag, something that you can pull out in an emergency and keep with you. Yeah, it's hard to plan for every eventuality, but making sure that you arrive with one working camera is kind of crucial on a job like this. The other thing that well, there are quite a few other things. You need to be really comfortable working in rapidly changing light situations in a setting like this. And probably the biggest mistake that I made when it came to actually shooting was by jumping back and forth between different techniques for low light shooting. I love to shoot bracketed stuff, and when I have a burst rate, and in addition to that, I will also use an automatic ISO, so I can set my shutter speed where I want it and let the ISO take up the slack. The problem is if you jump back and forth between the two, especially if you go using multiple off-camera flashes and you at any point forget to unbracket your shots, you can end up in a situation like I was in yesterday, taking photographs that were making no sense at all, where I was using still shots. So I was taking photographs and the exposure was all over the place. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It didn't appear that the settings made any difference. Well, I was shooting one frame of a bracketed set at a time. And when I finally realized that, I'd wasted 100 shots. So, you need to come up with a strategy for your stills that you stick with and get comfortable with and use. I did use a lot of flash and indirect flash wherever possible. I've been here by myself for the last day, so I'd been managing the lighting myself. But it's all very dynamic, as you'll see from the pictures. I haven't taken two pictures from the same spot in the studio. Let me see. I'm sure there are some questions here that could be answered. Yes, Jay's talking about using the Godox V860 number Mark II, which is actually what I've been using here. It has a very large rechargeable battery. I agree with Jay that it goes for a very long time. It goes for a decent amount of time, but it doesn't go anywhere near as long as an MF12 on quarter power. But yeah, I do like that. Alistair is giving David F a link to the Discord server. Actually, Amy has put a link to the Discord server in the chat. So anybody who is not a member of Discord, you need to come over there. That's a great resource for meeting other folks and asking questions and getting good answers. Let me see. Chris is mentioning that I told him that I had a TT600 died. Well, I actually had 4 TT600s die. I bought 2 pairs of 2 some years ago, and none of them work anymore. And obviously, they're outside of their warranty, which wouldn't make any difference because I didn't buy them from Outer Armor or B&H. So I wouldn't have been able to get the things taken care of under warranty anyway. But they were good flashes while they lasted. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they were TT600s. Yeah, very nice, very good. And they took 4 AA batteries. They would go through those batteries in a hurry, though. They still sell the TT600s, and the price is very good on them, but I don't think I'd trust them again. Joseph's talking about using rechargeable 18650s or 18500s, that is, on the outside of his flashes. I'd be very, very careful with that. I mean, I'm sure Joseph knows what he's doing, but those batteries put out a significantly higher amount of current than I think the flashes are probably used to seeing. Those 18650 batteries are about, depending on which one you get, they're about 3.7 volts, and they usually wire them up in series, so they're putting out lots of power. But I'll leave that to the people who know better. By the way, if anybody has found a source for flash tubes for MF12s or the replaceable batteries, the non-replaceable batteries for the MF12s, please leave a message in the notes. If you have a place that you go to buy flash tubes, tell us about it, because I need to replace a couple of mine, and I will make a video about it and show you how not to do it. So yeah, that will be good for everybody. But if somebody can tell me where they are going to get flash tubes, xenon tubes for their Godox flashes, that would be hugely helpful. Because I can't find them anywhere. I normally don't have any trouble getting replacement tubes, but I can't find them. Joseph says that send any dead MF12 his way, he'll give them a good home and a happy, contented old age. Right, well, he will. He'll fix them and use them. But you probably want to do that for yourself, and I'll show you how to do that. You've got to be very careful, by the way. Opening up a speed light is not something that you do without knowing what you're doing, because they will kill you. The capacitor will hold a tremendous voltage that is discharged instantaneously if you bridge it with your finger. So yeah, don't be doing that unless you know what you're doing. Speaking of flowers, Harold says, do you have a suggestion about who to follow to get tips and inspirations on photographing wild, not garden or indoor, orchids? If they cannot, I will follow up with you and give you some pointers on who to follow. I think that we've lost our signal again. This is very frustrating. I thought this place would probably have the best signal in the world, being a techie kind of place, but no, my one at home seems to be more reliable. So yes, sorry Harold, couldn't be any more help than that. Let me see. So David chimes in to Harold. I've been doing wild orchid photography for about 20 years, if you need any pointers. Well, I bet he does. Harold, why don't you... Oh dear, glad mine was so cheap. Mine were cheap too, but I bought them 8 years ago, or when they first came out, 9 in a row every day. So the fact that they die doesn't surprise me. They all do. Every flash I ever use dies. That's when I replaced the flash tube. Incidentally, I also replaced the capacitor, and there's a diode in there that you should replace. Battery pack and the capacitor and the flash tube for a modern flash for about $10 probably, all in for all three, and then spend an afternoon fixing them, all the broken ones or all the dead ones, and you'll be back in business for another 100,000 shots or whatever. Yeah, so it's good. I'm glad Joseph does that. And Joseph also is going to give me a couple of sources. Excellent for the replacement parts. That's great. Okay, so the let me see. Amy's saying no, I'm okay. which is, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I don't know what you mean, but it's good to be 04. That'll be fun. We've got a lot of important stuff to cover in that next conversation. And Baconmeister got here late, who just got back to his hospital bed after his third CT scan of the day. Baconmeister, what in the world are you up to over there? Yeah, I hope you're okay. Be okay, and let us know. Geez, yeah, I know. I jinxed it. I'm buffering again now. So far we've been 39.9% dropped frames, which is shocking. And honestly, I have no idea how to fix it on the fly. So there you go. And it looks like I think everybody must have gone home because the messages stopped. We were probably dead for too long. Let me see. No, apparently we're still going. Joseph goes on to say that all the batteries in these flashes are single cell rechargeable lithiums, 3.7 volts. Yeah, they are, but they come in different sizes, and I think the package size for the MF12 is going to be the little 1-inch by 1/2-inch lithium packet. I don't know that. That's the problem. I need to find out what fits in there. And I don't want to take it apart until I'm ready to replace it. If you know, let me know. I'm much more interested in finding out what xenon tube they use. Alrighty, so Harold's getting his orchid photography squared away with David, which is fantastic. David, are you planning on winning the photo competition in May? Yeah, you better be practicing because there's a lot of talented flower photographers going to be taking pictures. Let me see. Could I tell everybody else to stop using the Wi-Fi? No, I couldn't. I couldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, this is a big studio. Well, it's not. I mean, it's fairly big, but all the people here are the same people. But I can't go tell them to turn their Wi-Fis off. That would be rude. Though they probably already have if they know that I'm having problems. Can I lower the video quality to conserve bandwidth? Yes, I bet I can. But I am usually very loath to do this in mid video because it usually causes things to break. But I'm going to try. All right. Well, I do actually have the bit rate up rather high, so maybe I can change that. Just chat amongst yourselves. We're almost done anyway. You've got to give me points for trying. Let me see. I can't remember where it is. I thought it was under videos, but it doesn't appear to be. Yeah. Does anybody know? Well, I don't have any options for Wi-Fi, unfortunately. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try dropping the bit rate all the way down to 3000. That's 25%. Bit rate down to below 3000. Hit apply. Let's see. Okay, the quality should now be atrocious, but hopefully the bit rate will stay high. Let's see. Allan, can you lower the video quality? Well, yeah, I just did that. So let's see how it does. All right. Just in case you're interested, I finished building a lens hood for the Mitu Toyo and managed to include a threading for filters and flocking. It works really well. Well, I am interested and I would very much like to see that. Can you send a picture of it possibly? That would be good, Chris. I'd love to see it. Or your drawings. would be fine too. Let me see. Wild orchid macro stacks. That sounds fascinating. I'd love to see those. FWPDM. I switched my TV from 5G to 4G Wi-Fi and the interruption stopped. Please check if your modem is dual 4G or 5G. Well, it's not my modem. That's the thing. I don't even know where it is. I'm as it says on the screen, though I am going to turn that irritating thing off. I'm actually in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I don't own it. It's hang on, I turned the wrong printing off. Let me try something else. Let me try that. So there you go. Yeah, I'm in Boston at a recording studio, and I don't have control over the Wi-Fi, so I'm stuck with using whatever they tell me to use, and it is no G's. It's just it just says the preferred network. So let me see. But thank you, FWPDM. I mean, that would have been helpful if I was sitting by the router, but I'm not. Multiple DVTs. Well, don't tell everybody that. Oh dear, that's depressing. Hope you get to feeling better. Seriously. Jay, does anyone know how to remove the rear L Nikkor 50mm f2.8N? You've spotted some of the dreaded fungus, so thought I'd have a go attempting to clean it. I don't know what other people have said, but I would urge you not to remove the rear element of that lens. The fungus may or may not cause a problem for decades, but once you start digging in the lens, it'll usually ruin it. The problem with the fungus is it's not the fungus on the surface of the lens, it's the fungus eats into the coatings and actually sends out hyphae into the glass. Is liquid anyway, it's just very thick. But yeah, I think that you're going to end up making the problem worse. Let's see what Joseph says. Yeah. So apparently we've got some spelling issues going on here from Joseph. You can't say effing on this channel. I'll get demonetized. Well, I will. Who said that? Oh dear, I see what it was. Yeah, it was a spelling mistake. Flocking. He was saying flocking. Okay, well, if I get demonetized, that will be like 11 cents I won't get for this video. And yeah, I'll be okay one way or the other. That is so funny. I just can't see Chris getting worked up enough to say the other word, even if he was super angry. All right, good for you guys. And there I go. Sound is good, and then it's not good anymore. And well, you know what? We're only a few minutes from the end of the session anyway. So we'll just we'll try to push on through to the bitter end here. There's really nothing else I can do to improve the flow. So if it's driving you crazy, please don't stick around. Just head on. Let me tell you about the schedule. If you're sticking around, we have got. Well, I'm going to be heading back home tomorrow, and I've got a very, very hectic weekend. I've got some videos that are in production that I want to get finished. I've got some other things that a couple of surprises that are going to be coming out, and getting ready for a normal week of live streaming next week from the studio. I am changing my studio around, finishing the facelift that I started a couple of weeks ago. So you'll see a different look starting up at the beginning of the week. I can't remember what else I have to tell you. No, I think that's simple. But you should watch what is that? Mykono62 YouTube channel. He does a lot of. Oh, I've seen his lens repairs. Yeah, you've got to use the right tools. That's the problem. If you use a screwdriver to try to loosen the lens like I once did, it jumps out of the little notch and scratches your lens. That wasn't how mine got scratched. It was already scratched, but be careful. Yeah, it will be good to be back in my studio. I was happy to come up here. I've enjoyed doing it, but it is super stressful trying to do a live stream with other people's equipment, or with not having everything the right way. So Joseph's asking something about a facelift, asking me if I've had a facelift, or am I trying to relocate my beard to give yourself hair? No, I don't care about hair on my head. And yeah, I groomed my beard for this trip so that I wouldn't be profiled at the airport. I think it looks quite good. Bud Parrott just arrived. Good afternoon, Bud. I was just saying goodbye, actually, because this has been a nightmare of disconnections the whole time. We're on at the mercy of a Wi-Fi system that's overtaxed, I think, with people using it. I don't know. This is Boston. Nothing is the same here. Yeah, except it's warm. It's 70 degrees outside in the middle of winter in Boston, which is a bit disconcerting. I'm only about a mile from Harvard here. So from now on, I'm going to be saying I went to Harvard. Yeah, as long as nobody asks any follow-up questions, I'll be okay. But yeah, it's beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. City's lovely. And Laura, who's been up here helping me, took the day and went to Cheers yesterday, which is a bar, apparently, from a television program. Never heard of it. But yeah, so there you go. I think we've just run out of electrons again. Yep, no more streaming now, but it's getting better. Next time we'll have